Forest fires start naturally or human-caused. They usually start when lightning strikes a tree, lighting it on fire that then spreads, or very rarely, spontaneous combustion. Forest fires spread very quickly and produce heat and light energy. Forest fires have become more and more common, especially in moist areas to let the vegetation grow, but also in those places that have hot, dry times. Forest fires have a huge impact on climate change by emitting many greenhouse gases into our fragile atmosphere, annually emitting around 8 billion tons of CO2, and even though wildfires contribute to the carbon cycle, they're getting out of hand and becoming a bigger contributor to climate change. Not only does forest fires impact climate change, but also climate change is impacting forest fires. Since the Earth's average temperature is rising, it is drying out vegetation and making them vulnerable to fire. Not only that, pests that hurt trees and plants are able to survive longer, migrating across further distances, damaging more trees, making the trees die and vulnerable to fire as well. One of the biggest issues for the climate after it suffers from a forest fire is the lack of oxygen in the air. After a forest fire is combustion at an uncontrollable rate. Forest fires release greenhouse gases, mainly CO2, but also CH4, N2O, and CO. Forest fires make up 5 to 10% of CO2 in the atmosphere each year. The chemical process of a forest fire would be energy in the form of heat is fueled by wood and oxygen to produce combustion in the form of heat and light. But forest fires are preventing the state of California to meet its greenhouse gas reduction goal. The biology behind forest fires that relates to climate change would be ecosystems are being ruined and the respiratory systems of people can be harmed. In Alberta in 2017, the mountain pine beetle infested over 1,800,000 kilometers squared, killing trees by cutting off the circulation from the root of the tree. The mountain pine beetle was first native to northern Mexico and migrated in the early 1990s because winters became warmer and the beetle would be able to survive longer. The infected trees would die and become very flammable, which is very dangerous and threatening to many Alberta communities. Also, people around forest fires can damage their lungs and contract infection and diseases from the smoke inhalation. The smoke from the forest fires can travel far, therefore lots of people need to be careful and stay aware of. In the filed triangle here, the three components, fuel, oxygen, and heat, depend and thrive with each other to form a dangerous thing. Fire, like in forest fires. Heat is needed to produce fire, but also is made from fire. Light is made from fire because the electrons start moving very fast into a lower orbital that makes light. Fires spread very fast. For example, look at Australia and how fast their dry vegetation burns. Forest fires are uncontrolled, unannounced chemical reactions that release energy in the form of light and heat. For a fire to happen in general, you need all three of these components, fuel, oxygen, and heat. Without one, you would not have fire. Taking away one of the components would mean there wouldn't be a forest fire that leaves devastating effects on the climate.